Hi Peter, great to talk to you today, and it's great working with you because you've done so much in your past and the experience that you bring, and especially where you're going. Can you tell us a little bit about your pathway and how you got here and what you're doing now?
Yep, sure. Look, thanks for having me in this talk. Appreciate it. I'm really here so the viewers can understand, so that we can start looking at improving outcomes for New Zealand. That's my overview. The path that I've come down, I've been very fortunate. I've had some of the best people in business that I've worked alongside. There's a 35-year track record behind me in business. I was selected by the #1 director in that era to be a CEO for my first CEO role. The fellow's name is Peter Wilson, for those out there who may know Peter. And Peter's now happily stepped back from business altogether. Look, I've had a myriad of different senior management roles in this country. I've brushed shoulders with many different high-level business people. I don't want to name those people. I don't think it's right to in this interview, but I've learned a lot along the way because of the caliber of people that I've been able to work with. So my whole philosophy in business now is to try and breathe a sense of enablement and empowerment into as many people as possible, particularly Kiwis, even though I deal with overseas business people as well. So where I'm at right now, coming into the current era, and look, for those who want to see the gaps filled in that 35 years, they can read my LinkedIn profile. It's pretty thorough. And really see where I've come from, Right. So where I am now, I'm involved in a very large New Zealand business. There's some insights that I can give. Other insights there, I'm really, from a moral and commercial sensitivity point of view, I'll probably withhold those insights, at least for now.
Sure.
All right. So. But look, I help out really empowering and enabling people in that organisation. I'm involved heavily in training when we have new people come in.
And sorry, Peter, is this a small to medium business?
I would have to say no.
Yeah.
It's a national corporate,
right.
If you wanted to put an identity onto it in terms of scale. But it certainly had a small beginnings.
Right.
And it's one of those genuine Kiwi success stories. It's just continued to evolve. It's scaled. We've got lots of sites around New Zealand. It holds a very commendable market share on a national basis. And it just continues to go places.
Great.
Right. So, look, I consult in that business to the owner. I do that freely. Outside of my formal consulting capacity because I want to, and I see lots of opportunity in that business for further development, particularly around the people or the human resource, a term that I don't really like, but I just think people development's a much nicer way of looking at it. Yeah. That's where I'm at now.
And so with that, Peter, and that sounds really exciting that you're really changing or adjusting that business. Where has the request for that come from? And just on that, what do you think is lacking in, say, business in New Zealand or indeed overseas that needs your set of skills to take it to another level?
That's a good question. So where has the impetus come from, really, to have these changes implemented? I'd have to say a lot's come from myself. And I think it's fortunate for business owners like this current business owner. This is primarily one business unit that I'm working with, but the same principles could be applied through the whole country. Right. What I'm doing is making suggestions about where the improvements lie. So I don't come in with a heavy-handed consulting outlook or orientation at all. I simply make suggestions. Sometimes they're in writing because that's the way that I work in business generally. I give advice, but I always follow with a written follow-up. And then it's at the discretion of the advisory board to that owner as to what he does with that information.
Right.
And It's not because the owner is lacking in commercial acumen. As you may appreciate, this is a very big business, Dave. So it's just the fact that I've been exposed to so much in terms of depth and breadth of the commercial realm that I can simply see quite quickly where the opportunities are, where the holes are, where the opportunity for improvement sits.
Right.
And you know what it takes, though, also?
What's that?
It takes a willing, open mind to actually hear what those perspectives are.
Yeah.
And you say, where are we missing in New Zealand? Where are we missing overseas even? It's not constrained to New Zealand.
Sure.
I think it's in the willingness of people to really listen closely to what really experienced people have to say, and at least trial those ideas and not pretend to have a monopoly on good commercial ideas, because no one does. No, I don't pretend to. And it's through the combining of different perspectives, and they can be offered by any given stakeholder, in a business, that I think New Zealand businesses can go forward. I've just advised this particular fellow who's 20 years in this particular game, this industry, that he needs to foster a sense of inclusivity in the business, whereby there's not a management camp per se and a coalface worker camp per se, but we are a single business unit that's operating really inclusively across all the different roles that are in that business. And because, look, in my experience, and it's so true, good ideas can come from any level within an organisation, from any given individual within an organisation.
Wow. And everything you're doing, Peter, it sounds like a great deal and certainly a success story. And as you said before, when asked about small and medium businesses, that most or all kind of companies or businesses start small and they grow up. And New Zealand having so many thousands of businesses who want to either be medium or large, and there's certainly a lot in that SME space.
Yes, definitely.
The principles that you're using now and the guidance, I guess, could be used for all of those businesses as you say, if they want it, if they want to succeed in it, and they can work with you to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
So Peter, with all those other businesses out there and so much potential for people to really excel, and make their businesses work, how would you approach, or how do you approach those businesses? What do you start with?
Okay, good question. So just for viewers' interest, I guess generally, currently I'm operating a business which is called Real World Consulting. It's been registered now for about 10 years. I consult with companies in a very judicious way. Deliberately, it's about choosing the right client who is open-minded, as we were talking earlier about being willing to take on board perspectives and ideas and suggestions and guidance rather than throw up brick walls saying, I know best. So I under Real World Consulting, select clients that I think are a good fit for that mindset. But look, I'm really excited about joining the CATO team. It's been a interesting approach that you've made, Dave. And I really like the way that you've set up something that should benefit interested, and I mean genuinely interested, New Zealand businesses, people that aren't afraid to put their ego to one side and allow the introduction of new ideas and new perspectives to come in.
Great.
So it's really good to be a part of it.
Oh, it's great to have you with us, Peter, and that's why it was set up. That's why the team are excited. It's getting consultants and people with real experience like yourself to give real value, real help, and real connection, and make it really transparent. And that's why it's great to work with you.
Cool. Yeah. So, what do I see as being possible in New Zealand, and how do we make that approach to SMEs that really want help, genuinely want help? I'm more than happy, as I've said to you, when we join forces, if you like, that I'll put aside time, even though I'm fully committed at the moment, to be a part of that CATO journey. And together we've worked out a way, I think, that's quite realistic and quite appealing to SMEs, where if the door becomes knocked on, the CATO door, and people are saying, look, how do we go about engaging your services? There's certainly the opportunity for people to try before they buy. So a 30-minute spell in an online meeting with those prospective clients. So it's all very relaxed, pretty much like this, where we can just sit and get to know each other. One thing that I've learnt over the years is there has to be immediately a good amount of trust between the client and the consultant or the advisor. Otherwise the advice just becomes water off a duck's back, and it's not believed by that recipient. So that's why we've formulated that way where the client can get to know us first. So there's the inception of that relationship, and then we can move forward if the client's interested to be involved with us.
Great.
And then it becomes all about commerce and commercial advice once the relationship's underway. Yeah.
And I like the approach, Peter, because you're so right. It's as I was saying before, and you were saying, it's the quality, it's the engagement. It's not focusing on, primarily how much money we can get out of anyone. No. It's that value first, helping along, and then working together. That's what real consulting should be. And I think if we work together and move together, then what you're doing and what we're doing together can really help New Zealand get those businesses up and really see some good success stories.
I believe so. Look, I'm not in this for money. I don't have to be in this for money. I'm in this because I've got to an age, I'm 57 for the viewers out there, and I've had a really good, long, successful commercial career. I've been very fortunate. I've been, as I said earlier, brushing shoulders with very successful people, and they in turn have reciprocated because of the value that they've received. So, it's a good position to be in. I don't want to go to the grave. I've told you this before, I think, Dave, where I feel that I haven't given everything that I can give to this country. I feel quite emotional talking when I talk like this, so forgive me, but I will not kick off this planet without having felt genuinely that I've given everything that I can. I'm sick and tired of looking at our country falling short of where I know we can be. That's why I wrote that book, which is in my LinkedIn profile in 2016. And then subsequent to that, I was invited to teach at a university level on different topics. Some of them are covered in that book. So that book has really come from the heart. I want to show particularly SME level businesses in this country that it is possible, with the right advice being injected into their businesses, that they can do well. They don't have to be marginal businesses or just barely viable businesses. They can be flourishing businesses. But my goodness, there are a lot of mindsets out there that are just closed shop. They have refused. Look, inadvertently or advertently, I don't know. Intentionally, I don't know. But it's been their undoing. Actually.
And I kind of know what it's like, Peter, where, look, I've started business before a long time ago. And I wish I had people like you around me who could give me advice at the time, because a lot of businesses feel by themselves and they might get some advice, but maybe it's not the right advice. And they usually go into it, sometimes with a great idea, but there's a lot of support structure they need. There's a lot of compliances now coming in. There's legalities, there's insurances, there's all those things that really kind of need to get put together. And sometimes what can happen, and I felt it some years ago, is that I was working on that, but I wasn't working to grow the business, so I was kind of stuck. And it was kind of hard to do both. But with people like yourself and working with us in CATO, that's where the opportunity is, I think, and that's how we can help improve. We've been there, we've done that, we've got other people as well who can support. So why go the whole road when you can kind of take a bit of a shortcut to the right direction? And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, again, I've got nothing left to prove in life. And when I was interviewed for doing what I'm doing now, I think I've told you, they wanted me to manage a big faction of that business, knowing what my background was. And I just said, I want to do some of my own consulting still. but I can give you X amount of hours in a week, and I'm happy to do that.
Great.
And that's the structure that I've taken. So I think as far as SMEs go in New Zealand, it's still the backbone of the business community. Yes, there are corporates, and they hold certain scale-related advantages. But where I see SMEs missing out is actually through their inability or unwillingness, or both, to take on board what some of the corporates are doing, the better corporates are doing, and start achieving some scale-related advantages in this country. There is absolutely no point, in my view, and it's really disappointing that we've got it, a 69% business failure rate in New Zealand.
That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really disappointing. It's heartbreaking, actually, and the impact, we've spoken about this before as well, the impact of that, the socio-economic, not just the economic, but socio-economic impact is massive. So families are missing out on income, so the standard of living dwindles. Sometimes it translates even into domestic abuse at home, because there's now stress in the home caused by economic downturn in the business, or every day maybe it's a husband and wife going to work and they're stressing throughout the day to hold that business together. They don't have to do that. They really don't have to stress through each day doing that. You know, I've had different people approach me over the years and say, look, can you help me? And I said, I can, yes, I can help you, but are you willing? Are you actually willing to properly hear what I have to say? I don't have the time, and I'm not going to make the time unless you can show me that you've got that genuine commitment. If you do, then I'm all ears and we can work.
Yeah, and you've got to have that commitment, I think, and what you're doing. And look, I've not dabbled, but I've been mentoring since I got back to New Zealand after being in Australia for a while and then moving back. And there is a lot of businesses who are putting their hands up and saying, hey, I've been in business for a year or even 5 years. Can you help me? Can you have a look at this? Can you guide me? So there's certainly, businesses out there who need that help. And when you're talking about the social, the family, that's so correct. And if we times that by 100 or thousands, there's a lot of help that's needed out there. And I hope also that people watching this get in contact and say, hey, we need that help. Can you just tell us what's about? And we go and give that free consultation. Yeah,
look, I hope so. At the end of the day, I don't see how New Zealand can properly get on its feet, truly, and soar like it should be. I've always held a belief, that's why I still live in this country. I was working across Australia and New Zealand for some time after I'd merged a New Zealand company with an Australian company, producing a $500 million turnover in that process. And I started to look at Australia quite keenly as a place to live. And then I guess my Kiwi patriotism got the better of me, and we've raised our 2 kids here. So it's pretty hard to release all that because of the emotional tie over, I'm 50, as I said, I'm 57. So to release all of that suddenly and go to another country, although it's appealing, is actually a very hard decision to make. So I'm here to weather the storm with fellow business people, but what I'm not prepared to do is work with people, and I think we're setting this out quite clearly in the CATO terms, that we're not all about taking on everyone and sundry to help them. We're all about, though, taking on people who are open and willing to be helped and be guided and be lifted up. And to use my earlier phrases, empowered and enabled.
Definitely agree, Peter, and thank you very much. And just as a last kind of question, are there any thoughts or anything you want to share with the business owners watching now before we wrap up?
To leave them with a message which would be, I think the time's come, guys, and I won't look at the camera to say this because I just feel that it's better said talking with you still, looking into your eyes to say this. I still believe that there is greater opportunity in this country for SMEs. I think, and I'm going to talk to the government now as well, and I'm talking to the government at all levels, so central and regional and local. Guys, firstly the government, guys, you just haven't been doing enough, and the advice that you've been giving to small businesses through your different regional business partner programs around the country, it's not hitting the mark. I don't believe that it is practical enough. I really think that you need to review what that delivery looks like so that the people who are the recipients of what you're trying to do to help are actually lifted up by what you're offering. So that's to government, all right? To business, the business community, particularly SMEs, all I ask is that you view what you've been looking at in this interview today as being very genuine, it's very authentic, it's been done out of a genuine place of motivation caused by somewhat sadness looking at the state of business in this country, and wanting to do something about changing that trending. And just to interject with a statement here, when I was at university, the business failure rate was 50%, wow, and it's now 69%. So clearly something's not working, all right? So then now to carry on, my view would be, and my parting message to the business community is, please open your minds. Just because you've been doing something for a long time and it's proven to give you somewhat success, it doesn't mean that you've realised your potential. Because I don't believe most New Zealand businesses that have stayed the way and have remained afloat and have remained trading viably have actually realised their potential.
Agree. Yeah.
They're still on a journey to realise that potential. So,
I completely agree. Thank you very much. That's a great parting message. Thank you very much for the interview today. I really enjoyed it. It's always enlightening talking to you, Peter, and finding out how you do things, and I can see such a need here. So thanks again.
Welcome. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.